Hey everybody, Tom Barnes, stories from the 78. And by way of the Forge Lamont Quarries, I'm talking to my friend Art, who is the founder, the guitarist, and a bunch of other accolades for Everclear. But you've started record labels, you've done, I think, some producing of, on your own. You produced some of the Everclear albums and this whole thing out talking to you in Pasadena. Is that what you said, Art?
I'm in Pasadena, California. Good to see you, Tom.
Good to see you.
Again,
And
after 10
yes,
years.
yeah, we had a little run in at the old number 9 at WGN in Chicago. I booked you guys a long time ago. You came through town. It was wonderful to talk to you then. It's great to catch up with you now. And a lot has happened in those 10 years. I mean, you started the Summerland tour. Everclear is now 30 years in. And I was reading some of the stuff that you talked about years ago when you guys first started about, bands, 3 albums, 5 albums tops. Well, as far as longevity and all that, you kind of surpassed your own expectations. Good job. Nice work.
Well, thank you. You got to set limits and hopefully you surpass them, right? Yeah, no, by the way, you said I was a lot of things, but you didn't say I was the singer of Everclear. I do that
Well,
too.
that's just, yes, you are. I apologize. I'd be remiss if I didn't. But yes,
I
the
just don't
lead
want
singer as well.
people going, "Oh, the guitar player, that guy sucks. I don't want to hear from that guy."
Sorry, I'll edit that in at the
Uh,
very beginning. I apologize. But yeah, you were
no, no, no. I think it, I think it's better coming in now anyway. no, listen, thanks. Good to talk to you again. Thanks for having us back in the day. Thanks for having us today. Um, yeah,
absolutely.
man, we're out there doing it. We did our 30th anniversary tour last year, and the last show of the tour, we recorded a live album, which is coming out September 8th, the day that we're in Lamont.
Before I get any further, the Forge Lamont Quarries. I'm guessing you haven't played there before.
I don't believe so, no. I mean, we played
Now,
just about everywhere in Chicagoland, but I don't think we've been there.
yeah, it's a newer place. It's outdoors, but it's this amazing. I mean, if you like ropes courses or zip lines or BMX bike racing paths, this place has everything, and now a concert venue attached to it. It's a really cool place. You're gonna have a lot of fun, and the people down in that area, the Chicago area, they're good people. They're my people, the Southsiders. So it'll be a good time. Trust me. But
Sweet, man. I'm stoked. And I love the South Side. I love every place and as long as there's a Portillo's nearby, I'm okay.
oh yeah, well you'll definitely have that. You'll have that. What's your Portillo's order of choice?
Generally I get the beef sandwich with the gravy on it.
Mhm.
And then I get a Chicago dog with no relish. I don't like sweet relish. Everything else. And then
Even the
some
peppers?
cream. Oh yeah, the hot Jardiniere. If it the hot Jardiniere, for sure, not the sweet stuff, the hot stuff on everything. And oh, you mean the sport peppers for the hot dog?
Well,
Absolutely.
all right, just
Um,
checking.
yeah, and the crinkle fries, of course.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
get a little
I
nice
know
side
how
of
to.
cheese.
Oh, you mean for the crinkle fries?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I do. Yeah, I do dip the cheese, the fries in the cheese. That is true. Mhm.
That is, yeah,
Yeah.
that's the way to
I
do it.
feel like I have a I feel like I feel like I have a heart attack coming on right now just talking about it.
Yeah, I do the same thing. I either go for like a long bike ride before or after I hit up Portillo's just to make sure I clean it all out.
Just to make sure you feel better about it, really.
Yeah, absolutely. So going back to the live album, I read that it's the first time you guys have ever performed at the Whisky in Los Angeles. After 30 years,
Yeah.
you've never played there. That's hard to believe.
30 years, 60 years. 61 years. I grew up in LA. I've been going to the Whiskey since before I was old enough to get in there. I was sneaking in there with friends of mine's bands. Um, I've been there probably to see bands 100 times. I've been there with friends of mine playing, or and been backstage probably about 50 or 60 times. I've done drugs, been drunk, got into fights backstage, had sex backstage. I've done everything rock and roll you could do at the Whiskey A Go Go, and we're talking back in the day, right? Long time
Sure.
ago. But until last December, I'd never played there. Played
How did
everywhere. I don't know. Played everywhere else, just never played there. And stoked. So when we booked that date and we had it coming up, I got a call from a guy that works at a new indie label that just started called Sunset Boulevard Recordings Records. And he's a guy I knew from Capitol back in the day, and asked me if I wanted to do a live album. I go, yeah, man, we're playing the Whiskey. He goes, yeah, no, let's do it. And so we did it, and it sounds great.
it does sound great. I got the little preview listened to. I know it doesn't come out just yet, but it got a nice preview for it. Sounds awesome. The room sounds great. I mean, what was it like to play at a place you've never played in? You like you said, 61 years on the planet, probably going there for what, the last 51 years? I mean, were you rolling in that place at 10 maybe or 15? You know, whatever.
Nah, nah, 10, probably 15, 16, 17. Like they would have all ages days, for punk shows and stuff back in the late 70s. And I would go there. I saw so many bands there. Um, Yeah, I can't even tell you how many bands I saw back in the day. They're famous, like legendary bands. But no, it was, you know, we know how to play a rock show, it was great. I'm glad. So legally they can put about 440 in there, 425. I think that's the legal amount. They put in way over 600 people.
Sounds
Way
like a
over
great
600.
show.
It was it was packed, dude. Have have you seen are you a vinyl guy? You like
Yeah.
vinyl?
Yep. I got them right back
Well,
there.
I'm looking at your vinyl. Does stupid question. I deserve that look you just gave me. You gave me a look like like you
No,
look
no,
like
no.
you look like
No,
you
it
look
was
like
more
baby.
of course.
I know. You look like baby Yoda like. But that's our vinyl.
Oh, that's awesome.
I got the advance. It's really cool. Coke bottle green, 180 grand. And it's double live record. Only the cool people do double live records.
What's that like to be able to, at this stage in your career and the way music has changed so much in the last 30 years since Everclear's been around, to be able to
Right.
still put out an actual physical album? Because now people, before, I mean, in the 90s, people were kind of like I'm talking about actual vinyl records, not albums, but the actual physical copy of a vinyl record. People were selling them in
Right.
garage sales, all of them. Now people are collecting them and at record sales or pop-up record shops now. Like, people want to hold these things and play them because they sound awesome.
They sound awesome. They're getting good money. And it's an artifact, man. It's something you can hold in your hand and it's you read everything. I mean, when I was getting records, I've got some years on you, but when I was getting records back, when I was a kid, early mid 70s, and records were $4, which was a lot of money, right? I had grandpa over here. Um, but it was man, even then it just the smell of the record when you'd open it and just like take out the liner notes and read everything on the spine, everything, listen to everything, even try to do it backwards to see if there was anything in there. Sometimes there was. Um,
Yeah.
you know, really cool. It was a great experience. I'm glad that kids, I'm in my daughter's room and that's just a bit of her record. She's
Oh,
got a
that's
crate of
awesome.
records as well. And she's only almost 16. She's 15 and a half. But yeah, we've always been one of those bands that adhered to the idea that live is different than a studio record. You can be much more produced and subtle on a studio record. Live, to me, I want a fist himself live. I want it heavy. I want people moving around. I don't want people looking at their hands. I don't want shoegazers. I want like balls to the wall rock and roll.
From just reading about your your history of the, each album, you progressively kind of, got a little harder, wouldn't you say, as Everclear kind of evolved? Just more louder.
No, actually, I think it went you mean on album? I think it went the other way. A World of Noise was nasty, and Sparkle and Fade was pretty rock. So was Afterglow. Started getting a little poppier, but then it kind of came back,
That's what I
and
meant. Yes.
yeah, which to me is just it just shows you that I have varied taste and I like all sorts of different types of music, you know. And I think I always liked bands that did that, like listen to Led Zeppelin. All the records are different, but they all sound like Led Zeppelin. And
Right.
that's the one thing I've tried to connect that with my voice and my writing style, that there's connectors that connect all the records, but I could get into different instrumentation, maybe longer songs, maybe shorter songs, and just have fun. Because to me, I want to hear a band having fun live and on record. Because if they're not having fun, I'm not going to have fun. So that's kind of the idea behind it.
Yeah, and a true testament to a band is when they're live and they're great and they sound great, that you love them even more, because then they're not like, a studio band. You know what I mean? Like they come out and
Yeah.
they blow you away, and you're just like, hell yeah, man! Like that sounds better than it did listening to it in my car or in my house, wherever you're listening to music. Having that it's almost like a 2.0 experience of one of your favorite bands, right? You hear them live and they're better than you expected because all you know is from the album if you've never seen them prior.
Absolutely, and I we've always sounded a lot more rowdy and raucous and just loose around the edges live than our studio records, and I'm hoping this live album will give people a chance to hear, these songs, but more the way they were written rather than produced, the way they were written and performed rather than produced, which is more rock and roll, you know? Definitely. Get 2 guitars, uh, 3 3 guys singing, 1 guy singing lead, 2 guys singing backups, drums, bass, rock and roll. I mean, that's what it is.
Right. It's amazing what you can get out of just that many people, that sound you can get. You hear it from bands all over the world. It's amazing.
Absolutely. That's true. And, and I think a lot of it has to do with the how the band's connected, how the vibe is within the band. Like any relationship, there's got to be trust between the members of the band that, you know, like if my guitar player plays a little longer on something, we're paying attention. We're right there with them. We know when to come back in. If I stop playing singing and I'm just talking to the audience, the band knows when to come back in. It's it's exciting when you're with professionals and talented people and that you can go off script and still it's really cool, and that's fun. Even though I like songs, I do like improvising a little bit within the context of those songs.
Right. I imagine, especially after having a career that you've had, freshening it up just in the middle within the song is just keeps it fresh for you to keep playing, right?
Absolutely.
The World of
Absolutely.
Noise, the World of Noise album, I love the story where you kind of the album, the masters, the originals, you kind of had them buried in a box or put away somewhere, and you just recently found them and now releasing them digitally for the first time ever. I mean, what's that like, finding that treasure trove of music from like the beginning of your career there?
Tom, I swear to God, I thought they were gone. I thought through all the moves I've done, I've moved like over 70 times in my life.
Oh
I'm
my gosh.
well, I'm a fucking gypsy shark, right? I just can't stop moving. Sad. Thank God since my daughter's been alive, we've only lived in a couple of places. But yeah, I've moved around a lot. But I thought I'd lost him. And me and Freddie, my bass player, right-hand guy, and one of my best friends, were going through this back room at our studio in storage. And we found this big box that I had thought belonged to my mother-in-law. I could have swore it belonged to my mother-in-law. And we opened it up, and it was just full of like tapes going way back,
Wow.
like really, some of them were in their boxes and had writing on it. We knew what they were. Some of them were just open and kind of unspooled, and but the World of Noise, I saw it and I'm like digging through it, and I found the World of Noise quarter-inch 8 tracks. I could tell by how small they were, and I had the originals and the mixes, and we remastered the mixes, and it just sounds fucking awesome. Excuse my language, but
No,
it
that's all
just
good.
really sounds awesome. Sounds
I
awesome.
bet.
And so stoked. And I took the whole thing over to this friend of a friend of mine who is famous for like being able to bake tapes and clean them and then download them to digital. I mean, he does a great job of it. We did it to all those tapes. So I've got a big hard drive, huge hard drive of like everything I've ever recorded. And I'm pretty stoked. So there'll be new stuff coming out. There was a band before Everclear called Colorfinger that a lot of old school fans are always trying to find copies of that album online, which we only made 1,000 of them back in the day, just CDs.
Uh-huh.
And I want to put that back out on CD and vinyl for the first time and remaster it. That'll be fun.
That
Maybe
sounds like
not this year.
it sounds like a great record store day release kind of an album.
Yeah, yeah, maybe Record Store Day 2025. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's phenomenal. I was again reading a little bit about your journey and your history, and I love the story about when you wanted to do the next album, So Much for the Afterglow. You basically you had all of these folks that were kind of offering you whatever. And forgive me if I'm getting the story incorrect, but it's for what I read. But you basically said, I want to produce it. I want to do it all on my own. And a lot of record companies are like, no, nah, we're not doing that. But one did, and you did. And in that process, I also read that you don't do demos. You kind of just, I don't send demos. I tell you what I want, and then I play it for you if you want to hear it, but I'm not going to send, I don't do demos. Can you elaborate
Maybe
that?
I may maybe I play it for you. Maybe I won't.
Maybe,
Probably won't.
maybe, right.
Yeah. No, well, I was 32 by the time we signed to Capitol, and I had seen friends of mine go through the ringers with major labels, and I was just like, I'm not going through that shit. Um, and 94, June of 94, we had, or actually April of 94, we had just all these um labels just, there was like 40 of them just hovering, like writing us notes, but not like making an offer. And then one did, and then they all just pounced. That's how bidding wars go. And they all just pounced on us. And, you know, so basically I went to I sent a letter out to all these labels, an email just saying, oh, and no, it wasn't an email, it was a letter, it was a fax, because
Yeah.
there wasn't any email yet. It was 94. Um, just like, look, this is how much I want. This is how many firm records. I want this. I want all this stuff. I want, and all the labels are like, yeah, that's reasonable. What else? Oh, okay. You want tour support. You want us to buy you a van, but I'm like, all this stuff, and they're cool with it. And then at the end, they go, "Oh, by the way, I produce everything. I have total creative control, and I don't do demos." And oof, like 20, 28, 30 labels just, nope, we're out. Bye. But there were still about 8 or 9 labels, and they're like, "Okay, what else you got?" I'm like, oh, "Okay." And we went with Capitol. We liked I really liked the A&R guy there, that was interested in us, Perry Watts Russell. I went and met. I spent a day in LA. I went to like 14 all these labels. And then next day we went to New York. But before I left, I spent time with this guy from Capitol, Perry Watts Russell, a Brit, and I like him a lot. And we signed with him, and he's still one of my close friends to this day. And he was so instructive and helpful in making all those records that we did for Capitol back in the day. He was a true art confidant, and he knew how to work his way. He was just really helpful. That's what an AIGAR guy is supposed to be. And like I said, we're still friends. I'm going to have lunch with him next week.
That's incredible. And sounds like you were way ahead of your time in that area of demanding, I want full control. I mean, people weren't really doing that back then, especially, the way the record industry was back in the 90s.
Yeah, people were getting eaten alive by the machine too. That didn't happen to us. I was like, I was like, look, I want this and this and this, but if the album sells incrementally, say it sells 100,000, I want this. If it sells gold, I want this. If it goes platinum, I want this. All these back end stuff. And they're like, sure, why not? You're not going to do that. Chances are you're not going to do that. Guess what? We did.
Was it like 3 million? Was it 3 million?
Sparkle and Fade's right at 2 now. But Afterglow's over 3. Yeah, 3 million plus for Afterglow. We were at the time we were over about 1.5, 3.75 back in the day for Sparkle and Fade. That's over. I'm pretty sure it's over 2 now. But it didn't really matter. We had a lot of success, and they let me do it my way, and could we have sold more if I'd used some big name producer and let the label be a part of it and tell me what songs I could put on the record? Maybe, but I wouldn't have been as happy. And I sold enough records that they made money on me for sure.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Oh, yeah.
They're a Universal who owns Capitol. They're okay.
As far as when you're playing live, I heard the story about Father of Mine and the story about you looking at your daughter, and really you were talking about watching your daughter sleep. And as all parents love, you watch your kids sleep and you're almost like an admiration, like, man, that's my kid. Oh my gosh. And you had this reflection of your life and your relationship with your dad. You wrote the song and it became what it is now. Is that I asked this a couple times to a bunch of people I've interviewed over the time. And I asked them, is that your favorite song to play? And they all say basically the same thing. It's like asking what's your favorite kid. There is no favorite song really, but does that song kind of just a vindication for you when you play it?
Father of Mine?
Yeah.
Father of Mine is, I like playing it. I love playing it because it's one of those songs. We have about 5 songs that everybody can sing along with. Lately, incidentally, we've been having like about 20 to 25% of our audience has been kids, like teenagers, 20s,
that's great,
late 20s, early 30s. Kids that weren't even some of them weren't even alive when these records came out, and they know all the words to every song, even the obscure songs from soundtracks, right? They know all the songs, but the hits, and including Father of Mine, I don't know if it gives me redemption, but it definitely, I love to see the way people look when we play it and they're singing along, and when I start those initial chords. It's exciting to see. When you listen to the live album, the version of Father of Mine, when I say, I don't say I'm going to play Father of Mine, I just start playing the chords and people kind of freak out. So yeah. It's exciting. I you're right. When people ask me, you're exactly right. When people ask me, "What's your favorite song? What's your favorite?" I go, "You're talking about choosing between my babies, you know,
Right.
my children. No, I can't do that." But I do love how some songs just tie a room of anywhere from 1,000 to 10 to 20 thousand people. And in the case of back in the day when we played some of these huge arenas with other bands, radio shows like the HF Festival, 90,000 people singing Santa Monica, or when we played Woodstock 99, 280,000 to 300,000 people singing Santa Monica. That's pretty exciting. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
I imagine I
yeah,
imagine there's nothing that could replace that feeling of having 90,000 to 200,000 people singing your lyrics that you wrote on a notebook paper back in the day. Here they are singing it back at you. That's got to be pretty incredible.
it's better than all the drugs, all the alcohol, and most of the sex. Not all the sex, but most of it. Um, yeah, it's pretty exciting. I love what I do, man. Even at 61, we're going out, we're playing really large clubs, small theaters on this tour that we start September 6th with the Ataris and Pink Spiders. And we I'm just excited because when the travel aspect, that's gotten kind of old, for a guy my age and health issues and blah blah blah. But every night when I walk on stage, I just always have butterflies and I have this huge excitement and energy and almost anxiety. And then the lights go down and I hear that crowd and I found a way of just turning it to energy. By the time I hit the mic, I walk out there to the mic, I'm ready to go.
That's
And
awesome.
and it's just a lot of fun. I hope you can catch this tour, man. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, I
And
look forward.
the live album, I hope you get the vinyl, man. It's gonna be cool.
I know I got to add it to the collection for sure. Now that I know that it's on vinyl, now we'll seek that out for sure. That's amazing. I love it.
And that's
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure talking with you, and thank you for just sharing some of your stories. I appreciate it very much, and we'll see you here in Chicago area in Lamont at the quarries that they have there, the new venue they have out there. It's a great time, and maybe we'll get that Portillo's order ready to go here. I know a few people.
okay, man. Yeah, maybe you need to come out. We need to hit a Portillo's together, and we can share some cheese for our crinkle fries.
Sounds
Then again, we
sounds.
might need two. We can always get more.
Yeah, you gotta go crazy.
Yeah. All right, man. Thanks a
Art,
lot,
thank you
Tom.
very much. All
Thank you,
right, take
brother.
care.
Bye.